This is Blue Dream Gaming, and in this pre-roll, we'll be taking a peek at a charming little nug called Baldur's Gate 3. I have not personally played through the first, though I am currently playing through the second, mainly so I have some reference to the universe. This is of course going to be a relatively short sesh, as will be the case with all pre-rolls, as it's just a taste of the final product. More than likely, I will be doing a higher review of this game, so stay tuned. I'm relatively new to isometric games, having only a few under my belt, the most recent being Divinity 2. To be absolutely candid, I do love them, those literary journeys. In the past, I'd always had my nose nestled firmly between the pages of a good book. Now I can integrate that into my digital framework and enjoy it even more. Throughout this take, I will be playing and emphasizing the music normally found within the game because of how much I enjoyed it. Thanks, Borslav, you musical genius you. The music, as music so often does, quickly won me over, so I'll be playing a few choice tracks throughout this video for your listening pleasure. I'll get this out nice and early. There will be scenes shown here that are just too amusing to me not to broadcast, so I'm going to be keeping a healthy amount of eye candy on the screen. All the scenes in the game are visual treats of sorts, so I doubt seeing them more than once will be a bother for many. My cushy policy here and going forward is to avoid showing any scenes that I believe give away any crucial outcome or give away any important information on the main story. There really is no shortage of mesmeric video to show, and everything is so well uniquely crafted in this early access. I look forward to diving headfirst into the final product. Larian has been releasing notes on what information they have gathered so far, including romance interests and various dialogue paths and choices. Pretty interesting to keep up to date on, so check it out. Naturally, they are consistently making changes and updating the final product, and I feel pretty good about supporting a developer that is willing to spend some time polishing and refining their artwork. A lot of hard work has gone into this game so far, and I want to say thank you to the entire team at Larian. Keep up the great work, guys. Alright, so the character creation is pretty good here, and we have a lot of options to satisfy even the pickiest of players. I, by the way, classify myself in this category, and as I can say I'm satisfied with it, I hope that brings more weight to these praising words. Really though, the character models look fantastic. This is a good spot to just let the music play without my voice in the way. The character creation will be sped up a bit. Alright, let's get this pre-roll started. I was trying to keep this somewhat brief, but as with most things in life, we can't always get what we want, and I can't help but get carried away. Plus, I'm not entirely certain when the full game will be released, so I'd like to give some highlights to those who are interested in buying. Right from the beginning, we are met with our primary antagonists, the Mind Flayers or Illithids. Anyone who has played Dungeons & Dragons or older titles of this game will be pretty familiar with these baddies. We get a sneak peek at one of our future companions, Lizelle, a bit more on her later. All we can do is struggle with our captive friend here, freedom be damned. These tall, dark, and fabulous humanoids really have their craft down. Apparently the process for their breeding is called seromorphosis. A bit gruesome admittedly, but every race has to reproduce somehow, I suppose. These cute little tadpole babies are lovingly scooped up and caressed as they prepare for their big day. They really aren't picky either, and as long as there is an eyeball socket available, they will dive headfirst into your cortex. The host brain eventually becomes infected with the little bastard, slowly eating away at the other white meat and essentially replacing your brain altogether, taking control of your body. Then we have a fully grown Mind Flayer, and the world gets just a little bit darker. I'll let this play out a bit for your viewing pleasure. The sweet little thing has now gone through your eyeball and is nestled warm and cozy in your brain. hooked in for the long haul. Sweet dreams. Not much we can do about our little friend now anyways, so escape seems like the logical choice. So with the aid of some friends, we make it off the ship, and as with Divinity 2, we get a cushy landing onto a beach where we must forego sunbathing to locate help. It's a good motivator really, a brain parasite and potential transformation into a monster. Though this may be a good time to mention the good side of the brain parasite. Oh yes. You see, you will now have the option to speak telepathically with others who also have the brain parasite, and you can use the illithid influence choice to shake up others. These boons are useful. For example, I was able to convince a baddie to fight on my side, and this lovely lady I convinced to tear out her own throat. Dark stuff. Naturally though, this underlining darkness is offset a bit by the charm and comedic relief of this game alone. Back to the setting, this ravaged beach has seen better days, but saunter through it we do. Trying our best to avoid the bad guys, I soon realized thrash me to high heaven. Luckily the thrashing isn't much trouble, as I get to be reminded upon the reload of just how absolutely beautiful this game is. My computer easily handled it on ultra settings with very little in the way of issues outside of a few crashes here and there. The environment is crisp and beautiful, the colors jumping out at you. I found myself just scrolling around admiring it, my companions awaiting patiently, outside of Shadowheart, for my long-awaited return to our quest. Speaking of the companions, what a wonderful segue to our lovable partners in crime. Our first up is with Lae'zel, a Githyanki, peerless warrior. She's all kinds of fantastic and just as intimidating. She does not waste nor have time for idle chatter and foolish tendencies. No, not our Lae'zel. She did not take kindly to my musings. I ran into a race of people throughout the story and felt a bit of intimidation at their battle luster. Luckily, I was able to talk my way out of a fight diplomatically. Lae'zel's loyalties are to her queen, but she has room for you as well if you show her the proper respect. She's also a really powerful warrior who does not hesitate to dish out the punishment. Shadowheart is a companion I think will rank pretty high on the list for many players. She's cool, calm, and collected until she and isn't afraid to give you a proper tongue lashing, as I was quick to find out. Like Lae'zel, she did not have time for my musings and was quick to dismiss my attempts at getting closer. At first I wasn't quite sure how to use Shadowheart, as some of her skills are a bit confusing, but once my brain decided to start operating, I realized how versatile and useful she is during combat. Her power, mystique, and allure are all welcome in any party, an awesome companion and all. You will quickly also meet an odd and very handsome chap named Gale, who has quite the entrance. He has a bit more of a warm personality than the previous two, so it's a nice offset. Having said that, he also has a darkness hidden behind those eyes that makes him really intriguing and made me want to know as much about him as possible. Really interesting story from what I was able to gather so far. He's an incredibly powerful mage with access to quite a few options to decimate his foes, and decimate he did. I got into a bit of a tumble first meeting Asterion, so we didn't quite hit it off at first, though throughout the game he easily became one of my favorites of the bunch, mostly because I had a hard time reading him. Plus, I'm partial to vampirism and the dark arts, and he exudes both from his humor and wit to his history and motivation. With an aristocratic air of importance, he quickly won my heart, and so I obviously tried to romance him, but was met with a construction sign. Just simply not meant to be. Would have liked to have a look-see-do. In combat, he appears to be a trickster of sorts, and while he may look a little unassuming, he was one of my power players on the team, clearing the battlefield with ease with his tricky ways. In my runs through the early access, I was not able to recruit or continue conversations with Will, even though he is supposed to be a companion. In the journal, all related quests are completed, so I'm not entirely certain what's what here. But it's a 95% likelihood that I'm just doing something wrong, so I won't sit here and complain, though I would have liked to learn more about him. I'll just have to wait for the release. Once you have your party in tow, you are in a race for a cure for this brain parasite, our search taking us across a pretty large map, talking with colorful and endearing NPCs, and discussing alternatives to the death that awaits us. And throughout the journey, you are met with some pretty hilarious moments. You may discover a steamy moment between two lovebirds, only to get royally thrashed for the interruption. Just wanted to join in on the fun. Narrowly died to a swarm of harpies intent on luring away innocent children to their demise, or save the people from a rampaging owlbear, only to find her poor now motherless baby owlbear cub. Though he didn't seem to mind all that much. Hunger's no joke, man. Overall, I would say this is a great start to a really promising game. The narrator has a beautiful speaking voice, the well-crafted words being enriched by the great inflections and obvious heart. The dice roll system is enjoyable to use. The puzzles were engaging enough. The combat even more engaging still, especially with the inclusion of additional bonus actions and flexibilities afforded to use in approaching and handling a fight. From my perceptions, Larian did a fantastic job so far, and I really look forward to the full game. Comment below what you think of the sneak peek of Baldur's Gate 3. Just gonna let this scene play out here.
You feel something pull at you. The creature yearns for a master.
What have you done to him? He's not a creature. He's my husband. I wanted him back the way he was, not this. Connor? Connor!
This has been Blue Dream Gaming. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and stay safe. Au revoir.